Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I want to talk about the new movie, The Beekeeper. The Beekeeper is directed by David Ayer, who's directed movies like End of Watch, Fury, the original Suicide Squad, Bright, and more. I love a good Jason Statham action movie, so I wanted to check this one out. The synopsis is as follows. One man's brutal campaign for vengeance takes on national stakes after it's revealed he's a former operative of a powerful and clandestine organization known as Beekeepers. So without further ado, let's get into the 6 things that make a movie great. 1. The plot. Statham finds himself on the property of an older woman, renting her barn and keeping bees in order to make and sell honey. She then invites him over for dinner. Before he gets there, she's working on her computer trying to make sure that all the stuff she manages is safe, and she gets preyed on by a scammer. Scammer ends up taking all of her money, all of her life savings, and she ends up killing herself. Though Clay is a retired beekeeper, he decides to go on a murderous rampage to get to the top of this organization and stop it for good. I have to give some points to this plot because that's original and I like it, but honestly there's nothing added to the plot after that that makes this movie any better. Normally Jason Statham action movies are this way. There's a very simple plot, you get to see him kill a bunch of bad guys, and there's some sort of payoff at the end that's okay. This movie, the stuff they do in the plot as well as the rest of the film is just bad. About halfway through this movie, I made the decision that this movie should have been like a Peacock original film that never made it to theaters because it was that bad. So for me, plot gets a 50-50. 2 is family friendliness. The Beekeeper is rated R, and on top of a bunch of really bloody, gory violence, classic David Ayer decides to include as many F-bombs as possible. It was just way over the top to the point where it was distracting. Like their sentences wouldn't even make sense because they had so many F-words in them, and I'm like, that's not even creative, that's just egregious. So this movie's not family friendly at all whatsoever. That'd be a joke. Family friendliness gets a thumbs down. 3 is acting and script. Jason Statham plays Jason Statham, and there's nothing wrong with that. He's one of the most typecast people in cinema right now, and I still think he's good at it. I don't care. And there's some good actors in this movie. They all mailed it in for this one. Like Josh Hutcherson, Jeremy Irons, Minnie Driver, like people I did not expect to see in this movie. That being said, the best performance in this movie was Minnie Driver's cameo. Everyone else in this movie, it was cheese dialed up to 11. It was some of the worst acting that I have ever seen. And because there's such a huge lack of good acting performances, except for Minnie Driver, she's a blessing, I have to point out quite possibly the worst acting performance, and that was given by Emmy Lampman. She has the acting range of a cardboard box. And the script didn't help her at all, but her performance was super freaking annoying. Mad props to David Ayer for making quite possibly the least likable and most annoying female protagonist that I quite possibly have ever seen. It honestly was embarrassing. And that's paired quite nicely with the script like cheese and wine. The script of this movie is god-awful. I just strained my pinky. Oh my gosh. It's so bad. Like, I almost can't even put it into words how bad the script of this movie is. Like, it's trying to be serious, but at the same time, it throws in a bunch of bee puns and useless facts about bees at random parts of the movie. And at certain points where it's like, no, literally what's going on? And it's like, the bees keeping the hive safe. Oh, I wanted to die. It was so cringy, and I was getting secondhand embarrassment from the scriptwriter writing this movie. Oh my gosh. The point is that the script was one of the worst scripts that I've ever seen actually brought to an actual film. Acting and script get a huge thumbs down. 4 is character development. There's no attempt at character development in this movie at all. Granted, I don't really think that's necessary in a movie like this, but I'm looking for anything good that this movie had to offer, and there was nothing here. That's all. Character development gets a thumbs down. 5 is visuals and CGI. You may be thinking to yourself, this is the part where it redeems itself, right? You don't have no substance, but you have cool action sequences. No! Look, there's nothing new under the sun, and yet some action movies still find a way of inventing new action and cool sequences that are like, wow, this is just satisfying, even though I've seen parts of it before. There were no fight sequences in this movie that were entertaining to me. Even if you turned your brain off, it's hard to enjoy a movie like this. And the CG, there was literally terrible CGI in multiple sequences, and I was like, you could have done better with clip art. Like, what are we doing here? Visuals and CGI get a thumbs down. And 6 is rewatchability. The Beekeeper is an hour and 45 minutes long. And I'd be lying to you if I said that if there was one more bee pun in that movie, I would have asked to be executed. I would rather be stung for an hour and 45 minutes straight by bees than have to watch that movie again. The fact that this movie is getting decent ratings at all, to me, is crazy, because I was sitting there wanting to die. Rewatchability gets a huge thumbs down. With all these areas considered, I have to give The Beekeeper a 1 out of 10. This was a god-awful movie with one of the worst scripts that I have ever seen, terrible, cheesy acting performances from actors that I wouldn't even expect that from, a decent premise that evolved into something absolutely crazy, and subpar action sequences that should have been the driving force behind this movie. This movie was bad. Like Cocaine Bear bad. Please, for the love of God, do not waste your time or money going to see this movie in theaters, because more than likely you will regret it. Thank you so much for watching. If you've seen The Beekeeper, I am so sorry, but please let me know what you thought about it in the comments below. As always, I appreciate your love and support, and I'll catch you guys and gals in the next one.